I killed my own future the day I covered for Tommy, my baby brother, when he torched that garage in the suburbs of Chicago, 8 years old and already a pyro with daddy issues. But blood's thicker than the law, right? So I lied to the cops, said it was me, took the juvie rap, and watched our old man
Richard Hale.
disown me like I was yesterday's trash while he bailed Tommy out with a wink and a boys will be boys. That hook sank deep, but it didn't prepare me for the real gut punch. Richard wasn't just absent. He was a ghost who'd been haunting us from his high-rise penthouse downtown, funneling cash to Tommy's fresh starts while I scraped by as an Uber driver, dodging potholes and deadbeats in the Windy City's endless gray drizzle. 8 years later, on a Tuesday that smelled like wet concrete and regret, my phone pinged with a ride request from Oak Park to Graceland Cemetery. The name on the pickup, Richard Hale. My father. The man who'd buried my childhood deeper than any coffin. I almost canceled. My thumb hovered over the screen, heart slamming like a bass drum in a blues club on Halsted. But revenge isn't a light switch. It's a slow burn. The kind that simmers until it boils over. I hit accept. Free ride. I typed in the notes. No charge for ghosts. The address was a crumbling bungalow on a street lined with sagging porches and faded American flags. The kind of place where dreams go to die under aluminum siding. I pulled up in my beat-up Honda Civic, black. Anonymous. Like me now, Eliana Voss. Not Hale anymore. 26 and forged in the fires of betrayal. Rain hammered the roof as I waited, wipers slapping rhythmically. Then the door creaked open, and there he was, Richard, 62. Stooped like the weight of his secrets had curved his spine. Black suit. Too big for his frame. Tie askew. A manila envelope clutched in one liver-spotted hand. He didn't recognize me at first. Why would he? The last time we'd locked eyes, I was 16, in handcuffs, screaming that Tommy was the arsonist while he turned away, muttering about family reputation. Evening, he rasped, sliding into the passenger seat without a glance. The car filled with the scent of Old Spice and stale cigar smoke. A olfactory time machine straight to my nightmares. Graceland. My wife's funeral. Make it quick.
Wife.
Not my mother. Claire had been gone a decade, cancer chewing her from the inside while Richard chased skirts in the loop. This was wife number 3, Vanessa, the gold-digging viper who'd slithered in 5 years ago. All Botox smiles and designer heels, whispering in his ear until he rewrote the family trust to cut me out entirely. Tommy got the lake house in Wisconsin. I got a postcard from a P.O. box. Vanessa. The woman who'd played me like a cheap fiddle, convincing Richard I was unstable after the fire, planting doubts until he believed his own lies. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white. Rough night, I said, voice steady as Lake Michigan in a gale. Pull out slow. Merge onto the Eisenhower Expressway. The city lights blurred into neon streaks. Wrigley Field's glow mocking me from afar. He grunted, staring out at the storm. Vanessa. She was the light. You know, fought like hell against the lupus. Doctors said 6 months. She gave me 5 years. His voice cracked. And he pulled out that photo, Vanessa, mid-40s, blonde waves and laugh lines, arm around him at some yacht club gala. She looked like every trophy wife in a Scorsese flick, polished, predatory. I swallowed bile. Light, she'd been the shadow over my life. The one who'd accidentally leaked my juvie record to every employer from here to Milwaukee, ensuring I'd never climb out of the driver's seat. Sounds like she was something special. I lied, accelerating into the fast lane. Horns blared. I didn't care. What happened tonight? Fight with the kids, or something?
He sighed.
Heavy as the humidity. Tommy's my rock. Stepson. Technically, Vanessa's boy from her first mess of a marriage. But he's blood now. Handled the arrangements. The eulogy. Said it'd be packed. Friends from the club. Her sorority sisters.
But I
couldn't face it alone. Not after what she whispered on her deathbed. My pulse thrummed.
Tommy.
Of course. The little shit who'd graduated law school on daddy's dime. Now a junior partner at some firm in the Mag Mile. Defending white-collar crooks while I ferry drunks home from dive bars. The same Tommy who'd lit that match in '09. Giggling as flames licked the sky. Then hidden behind my skirts when the sirens wailed. I'd confess to protect him, our mother's last wish. Whispered through chemo fog. Keep the family whole. Eliana. For me. And Richard? He'd thanked me by signing those papers. Erasing me like a bad draft. What's in the envelope? I asked. Casual as a Midwest hello. He patted it like a talisman. Will revisions. Vanessa. She made me see things clear. Tommy's the future. Deserves it all, the business, the properties. Not like my first girl. Wild one. Burned bridges before she could build, first girl.
Me.
I bit my tongue until copper bloomed. The rain intensified, turning the windshield into a watercolor of taillights. We hit a snarl near the cemetery exit. Construction? Always fucking construction in this city, and the silence stretched taut as a garrote. Tell me about her, I said finally. Voice a thread. Your first girl. What did she do that was so wild? He chuckled.
Bitter.
Eliana. Named after Samant. Smart as a whip, but troubled. Set fire to the neighbor's garage, kid stuff. But it escalated. Stole my trust. My name. Haven't spoken since. If she walked in now. Hell.
Eat it.
The words landed like punches. I swerved into the shoulder. Gravel crunching under tires. He jolted. Eyes wide. What the? I killed the engine. Rain drummed on the roof. A funeral dirge just for us. Slowly, I turned, letting the dome light wash my face. Scars from the fire, faint, but their eyeliner smudged like war paint. Hello,
Dad.
It's me. Your wild one. His mouth gaped. Fish-like. Color draining to ash. The envelope slipped to the floor mat. Papers whispering secrets.
Outside.
Thunder rolled. And in that suspended breath, I saw it. The fracture lines in his empire. Ready to crack under my heel. We sat there. Two strangers bound by lies. As the storm raged. He stammered apologies. Excuses, booze. Stress. Vanessa's influence. But I waved them off. Restarting the car with a calm that belied the inferno inside. Drive, he croaked. Just.
Drive.
And so I did. Toward Graceland's iron gates. Where the dead waited, and the living plotted. Little did he know. This free ride was the down payment on a debt 8 years overdue. By the time we parked under the weeping willows, his world would be ash. And I'd be the one holding the match. The funeral loomed like a bad sequel, black umbrellas bobbing in the downpour. Mourners huddled around a glossy mahogany box under a tent strung with white lights. Tommy stood at the podium. Golden boy in a tailored suit. Voice booming platitudes about eternal love and legacy. He spotted us as we approached. Arm in arm for appearances, Richard leaning on me like I was his crutch. Not his curse. Eliana? Tommy's eyes narrowed. That lawyer's squint. What the hell are you doing here? Family reunion, I quipped, helping Richard to a front row chair. Whispers rippled through the crowd, old money types from the North Shore, sizing me up like yesterday's scandal sheet. Vanessa's sorority sisters clucked tongues. Her yoga instructor buddy shot me side-eye. Richard collapsed into the seat. Envelope clutched anew.
She's
my daughter, he announced, voice wobbling. Heads turned. Tommy froze mid-sentence. The service dragged hymns. A violinist murdering Amazing Grace. Eulogies thick with saccharine lies about Vanessa's philanthropy. She'd chaired galas for lupus research. Sure. But only after siphoning Richard's accounts to fund her charities. Offshore shells that lined her lover's pockets. I'd hacked that truth 2 years back. Nursing a cheap malort in a Wicker Park dive. But who believes the black sheep? After the committal, dirt pattering on silk like guilty rain, Richard pulled me aside by the columbarium. Away from prying eyes. Eliana.
God.
Look at you.
Grown. I'm sorry.
For everything.
Sorry.
The word hung. Insufficient as a band-aid on a bullet wound. Actions speak louder.
Dad.
That envelope, Vanessa's last gift. He nodded. Shame etching deeper lines. She convinced me Tommy was the heir. Said you. You were poison. But seeing you tonight, driving me here, it's a sign.
Come back.
The will, I'll fix it. Half for you, half for him. Fair.
Fair.
After the fire, the disownment, the years of ramen and rejection calls, I smiled, cold as the windy city's winter bite. Let's talk after. Private. Tommy cornered us then, Rain sluicing his perfect hair. Dad. What is this? Her? After what she did. What I did. I laughed. Low and lethal. Ask him about the garage.
Tommy.
Who really held the lighter. His face paled. Oh. He knew. Always had. Richard blinked. Confusion brewing. What? Seeds planted. As we piled back into the Civic, mourners scattering like roaches, I drove not home, but to Richard's penthouse overlooking the loop. The city sprawled below, a glittering lie of progress masking the rot. Conversation flowed, laced with bourbon from his wet bar, stories of Clara, my mom, how she'd begged him to protect us both. Lies unraveled, Vanessa's affairs, her role in forging documents to frame me as unfit, Tommy's complicity in covering tracks. By midnight, envelope shredded, Newell drafted on his laptop, equal shares, but with clauses. A trust for me, irrevocable. Tommy's cut, contingent on atonement. Revenge tasted like aged whiskey, smooth, with a kick. But dawn brought the twist. Tommy's text.
We need to talk. Now.
Little did I know, he'd been 2 steps ahead. And the real fire was just igniting. The penthouse was a monument to Richard's delusions, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Chicago River like a vein pulsing with tainted gold. Leather club chairs scarred from too many cigar solos. And walls lined with abstract oils that screamed, I have money, but no soul. We crashed there after the funeral, Richard nursing a tumbler. Me pacing the Persian rug like a caged wolf, the newel glowing on his MacBook screen like a digital absolution. "It's done," he slurred, eyes glassy. "Logged with the firm. Tommy gets the condo, you the cabin up north. And the business split board seats. Vanessa was wrong about you.
Kiddo.
Always was.
Wrong.
If only. Vanessa hadn't just whispered poison, she'd orchestrated the symphony. I'd pieced it together over late-night scrolls on incognito mode, emails from her to Tommy, coaching him on how to manage Richard, planting stories about my instability. The fire? She'd twisted it into my manifesto. A cry for attention from Daddy's forgotten girl. And Tommy, eager pupil, had run with it. Law degree be damned. My phone buzzed again. Tommy.
Meet me.
The gauge. 9 a.m. Or Dad learns the truth about Mom's accident. The gauge, that swanky burger joint in the Loop. All craft cocktails and hipster irony. Blackmail. Served medium rare. I pocketed the phone, forcing a smile. Get some sleep.
Dad.
Big day tomorrow. Estate readings. Right? He nodded, shuffling to the master suite, leaving me alone with the skyline's indifferent stare. Sleep? Not for the vengeful. I poured another finger of Macallan. Let it burn down the betrayals. Mom's death. Car wreck on the Dan Ryan. Driver error, they'd said. But I'd found the skid marks didn't match. The brake fluid tampered. Vanessa. Pre-marriage. Sniffing around Richard's assets. Coincidence? In this family, nothing was. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving. The city stirring below like a beast shaking off hangover. I slipped out, leaving Richard snoring, and hailed a cab to the gauge. No Civic today, anonymity was key. The place was already buzzing, suits nursing pour-overs. Influencers snapping avocado toast. Tommy waited in a corner booth, looking every inch the predator. Crisp Oxford shirt, Rolex glinting, that boyish grin masking the arsonist's spark. "Sis," he drawled, sliding a menu my way. "Pancakes? My treat." Cut the charm.
Tommy.
"What's the play?" He leaned in, voice low under the clink of silverware. "You show up after 8 years. Play the prodigal. And Dad rewrites the will?
Gu.
But you forget I know you.
Ileana.
Always the fixer. What did you say in that car? Whisper sweet nothings about redemption." I sipped black coffee, bitter as our bond. "Truth hurts, doesn't it? About the fire. About Mom." His jaw tightened, fork stabbing a sausage link. "Mom was weak. Cancer broke her first. The crash? Tragic accident. Vanessa had nothing to do with it. Liar." I slid a printout across the table, hacked from his old email. Timestamps glaring. Vanessa's directive. Handle the hail problem. Quietly. Brake lines snipped. A shadowy mechanic paid off. You were 20. Already interning at Dad's firm. She groomed you, and you lapped it up. He scanned it. Color draining. Where'd you? Doesn't matter.
Point is,
Dad's will now includes me. Fight it. And this goes viral. Chicago Tribune loves a family implosion. Tommy's laugh was hollow, echoing off the exposed brick. You think you're the Avenger here? Eliana. You're the patsy. Always have been. Vanessa didn't kill Mom, Richard did. Pushed her too far. The fights. The affairs. She drove off that bridge to escape him. I covered for Dad. Not her. Family, remember? The words hit like a slap from Lake Superior's chill. Richard? The ghost who'd haunted us? I'd built my rage on Vanessa's altar. But Tommy's twist reframed the altar itself. You're full of shit, am I? Ask him. Or better, check the dashcam footage from that night. I kept it. Insurance. Stalemate. I stood, tossing a 20 on the table. Game on, brother. But if you breathe a word, we both burn. Back at the penthouse, Richard was up, showered, looking almost human in khakis and a polo, the uniform of the reformed. Eliana, the lawyers called. Reading at noon. You coming? Wouldn't miss it. Lie number. Lost count. The firm was on Michigan Avenue. All glass and gloss. The kind of place where ethics go to get a manicure. We rode up in the elevator. Silent. The wills wait between us. Tommy arrived late. Disheveled, hungover, hunted, flanked by his associate. A shark in pearls. The conference room overlooked the Bean. Tourists milling like ants. The attorney, a dry martini of a man named Hargrove, cleared his throat. Mr.
Hale.
Per your instructions. Revisions effective immediately. To Thomas Hale, the Gold Coast condo. Annual stipend of $150,000 and 40% of Hale import stock. Tommy smirked, but it faltered when Hargrove continued. To Eliana Voss, the Door County cabin, $200,000 lump sum, and 40% stock, plus veto on major decisions. My breath caught.
Veto?
Richard's addition, scribbled in bourbon haze, insurance against Tommy's impulses. And the remaining 20%. Tommy snapped. Retained by Mr.
Hale.
With a clause, upon his passing, distributed equally unless contested by either heir, in which case forfeiture to charity, lupus research. Vanessa's pet cause. Poetic. Tommy's face twisted, outrage. Calculation. This is coercion. She manipulated him. Richard slammed a fist. Enough. Eliana drove me through hell last night. Gave me clarity. You're both my blood. Act like it. The room crackled. Tension thick as fog off the lake. Hargrove adjourned. Papers shuffling like dry leaves. In the hall, Tommy grabbed my arm, nails digging. You think this ends it? Dad's sick, prostate. Stage 3. Won't last the year. And when he's gone, I'll bury you deeper than Mom.
Sick.
The word hollowed me. Richard, frail under the fluorescence. Oblivious. Tommy, I hissed, wrenching free. Touch me again. And the footage goes to the DA. Arson. Tampering, your license in shreds. He released. Eyes feral. Family.
Eliana.
Remember? I did. All too well. That afternoon, we 3 lunched at Giordano's, deep dish as uneasy truce. Cheese stretching like strained bonds. Richard dominated, reminiscing about Clara's apple pies. The old neighborhood in Pilsen before gentrification gobbled it. Tommy played along, charming the waitress, but his foot tapped Morse code under the table war. After, Richard pulled me aside in the parking garage, exhaust fumes curling like accusations. He's jealous.
Kiddo.
Always was. But you're stronger. Like your mom. Stronger. If only he knew the half.
Dad.
About the crash. Was it really an accident? His eyes darted. Adam's apple bobbing. Water under the bridge. Let it go. Not water. Brake fluid. But I nodded, planting another seed. Evening found me at the cabin. Wait.
No.
I'd claimed it already. Richard insisted I inspect it that night. A 2-hour haul up I-94 to Door County, Wisconsin. The land of cherry orchards and quiet grudges. The Civic 8 miles. Radio crooning Springsteen, Born to Run. Ironic anthem for the pin down. The cabin was rustic chic, log beams. Stone fireplace. Lake Michigan views that could steal your breath if betrayal hadn't already. Richard had renovated post Vanessa. Hot tub. Sub-zero fridge stocked with craft beers. Yours now, he said, handing keys. Start fresh.
Fresh.
I wandered the decks as he dozed by the fire. Phone in hand. Texts from Tommy. You're poison. Always were. Then a link. Dashcam footage. I clicked. Heart in throat. Grainy night vision. Mom's old Accord on the Dan Ryan. Weaving. Then swerve. Guardrail kiss.
Plunge.
But before, a shadow truck. Deliberate nudge. No accident. And the plate? Richard's company fleet. The pieces shattered. Reformed. He'd run her off. Covering debts. Freeing himself for Vanessa. Tommy knew. Protected him. The real betrayal. Father-son pact. Rage boiled. Pure as distilled vodka. I pocketed the phone. Stoked the fire higher. Richard stirred.
Ileana?
You okay? Perfect, I whispered, watching flames dance. Just warming up. Outside. The lake whispered secrets. And I plotted the next burn, not a garage, but an empire. Door County in November is a ghost town of half-harvested orchards and shuttered motels. The kind of place where autumn leaves crunch underfoot like brittle bones, and the wind off Green Bay carries the salt of unspoken sins. I spent the night in the cabin's guest loft, staring at water-stained beams, the dashcam clip looping in my mind like a cursed gif. Richard's truck, his hand on the wheel, nudging Mom's car into eternity. Tommy's gift. Or trap. Either way, it was dynamite. And I held the fuse. Morning broke foggy. The lake a slate mirror reflecting my fractured reflection. Richard was up early, frying eggs in the kitchenette, humming Sinatra off-key. Sleep good,
Kiddo?
Thought we'd fish today. Your mom's favorite spot. Out by the point.
Fish. As if we could reel in the past. Sure. Dad.
Lead the way. We loaded the old aluminum skiff onto his F-150, Irony's truck, and motored out. The outboards putter, the only sound breaking the gulls' cries. He baited hooks with night crawlers, hands steady despite the chemo ghosts lurking. Clara loved this. Said it cleared the head.
Cleared.
Mine buzzed with schemes. Tell me about her.
Dad. The end.
The crash. He cast his line, avoiding my eyes. Tired.
Ileana.
Arguing over money. The business dipping after 08. She took the curve too fast. End of story. Lies. Polished as the tackle box chrome. I reeled slow, playing him. Tommy sent me something. Footage. Shows a truck, your plates. The rod jerked, he nearly dropped it. Water lapped the hull. Accusatory. Tommy's stirring shit. That was a supplier. Drunk driver. Cleared by cops. Cops you paid off. The words slipped. Sharp as a treble hook. He reeled and empty. Face hardening. Drop it. For family. Family. The words soured like bait gone bad. We fished in silence till noon, pulling perch that stared blank as my mercy. Back at the cabin, lunch devolved into bourbon by the hearth, his stories turning maudlin. Mine measured probes. Vanessa entered the narrative, met her at a fundraiser. Widowed young, tough as nails. Saw me through the dark.
Dark.
Postmom. She ever talk about Tommy's dad? The messy marriage? He chuckled. Ex-husband. Some real estate hack.
Left her loaded but lonely.
Tommy's the prize, sharp kid. Loyal. Loyal. To whom? I excused myself, claiming a nap, and drove the truck into town, Egg Harbor. A postcard of fudge shops and BNBS. Library Wi-Fi. Anonymous. Searched the ex's obit. Died in a boating mishap, Door County waters. 5 years pre-Vanessa, meeting Richard.
Pattern?
Phone rang, Tommy. Enjoy the view.
Cease.
Dad spill yet? You're a puppet.
Tommy.
Vanessa's. She offed your old man. Now mom. Shut up. Static hiss. Meet me. Peninsula Park. Tonight. Or I email the board, Eliana Voss. Arsonist heiress. Leverage for leverage. I agreed.
Gut twisting.
Dusk painted the bay crimson as I parked near the park, towering cedars. Empty picnic tables. The park's stone tower looming like a sentinel. Tommy emerged from shadows. Bottle of Maker's Mark in hand. Truce drink. We sat on damp benches. Passing the bottle. The alcohol loosening tongues like oil on rusted hinges. Vanessa wasn't poison, he started. Voice slurred soft. She saved me. Dad, Richard, was drowning us in debt. Mom's crash? He was drinking. Tailgating her home from the hospital.
I saw it.
Hid the truck. Lied to the cops. For him. Echoes. And the fire? You let me take the fall. He shrugged. Moonlit guilt. Kid stuff. You were tough, said you'd handle it.
Plus.
Mom's wish. Keep us whole.
Whole.
Fractured mosaic. Vanessa knew?
Worse.
She helped cover the crash. Blackmail material, insurance payout funded her lifestyle. But she loved Dad. In her way. Made him steady.
Love.
Twisted as Lake Michigan currents. I pressed. Your real dad, the boat? Tommy's laugh barked. Drunk. Fell in. Vanessa was ashore. Alibi ironclad. But rumors.
Nah.
Rumors. I filed it. Shifting gears. The will. Dad's sick. We split it clean. Or, clean. He swigged deep. You're the wild card. Always fixing what ain't broke. But if you push, I push back. That footage goes to Hargrove. You lose the veto. The cabin, everything. Threat veiled as toast. We parted uneasy. His truck taillights fading into fog. Back at the cabin, Richard waited, concern creasing his brow. Where to? Errands. Lie easy. Bed that night. Fitful. Dreams of flames and submerged cars. Next day. Chicago called. Board meeting at Hale Imports. My first as co-heir. The office was a temple to excess. Mahogany desks. Nautical charts from Dad's shipping days. Views of freighters crawling the Calumet. Tommy arrived with fanfare. Schmoozing execs. I slipped in quiet. The scar on my cheek a badge under fluorescent glare. Richard opened. Family's back. Eliana joins the table. Murmurs. The CFO, a weasel named Pritchard, eyed me.
Heard about the
Incident. Stability concerns? Tommy smirked. I countered cool. Passed his prologue. Focus on Q4. Those tariffs killing margins. Redirect worked. Talk turned tariffs. Supply chains. But undercurrents swirled. Pritchard's glances. Tommy's foot taps. Post-meeting. Richard pulled me into his office. Decanters glinting. Proud of you. Vanessa'd be. Surprised.
surprised.
Or scheming from the grave. Dad. Level with me. Mom's crash, you were there? He poured doubles. Hands trembling.
Yes.
Tailgating. Angry words. She swerved. I froze. Called Tommy. He handled the truck. Cop spot drunk driver story. Suppliers plate swapped. Confession. Whiskey fueled. Why cover?
Guilt. Love. For you kids.
Claire gone. I spiraled. Vanessa pulled me out.
Pulled.
Or pushed into her web. I hugged him then, first in years feeling ribs like picket fences.
We fix this.
Together. But fixing meant burning bridges. That night, alone in my Wicker Park walk-up, peeling wallpaper. Neighbors' reggae tone thumping, I emailed an anonymous tip to the Sun-Times. Hail Patriarch's hit and run? Attached. Dashcam stills. Blurred plates.
Seed sown.
By morning, headlines buzzed. Shipping mogul's dark secret? Tommy called. Furious. You bitch. Boards panicking, stock dipping. Truth's a bitch, I replied. Meet me. Neutral ground. The Billy Goat. The tavern under Michigan Avenue. Cursed Cub's shrine. No Pepsi, graffiti eternal. We huddled in a booth. Grease and beer the mediators. Ceasefire, he demanded. I bury the arson file. You kill the leak.
Deal.
But the veto stays. And Dad's treatment, I fund it. Private clinic. His eyes narrowed, suspicion. Sibling flicker. Why the soft spot? Because unlike you, I remember Mom's face. Lie partial. Revenge needed allies. Not just ashes. Truce held fragile as a pretzel stick. Weeks blurred. Board skirmishes. Where I'd outmaneuver Tommy on deals, green shipping routes. Cutting his fossil fuel cronies. Nights at the cabin. Fishing with Richard. His health fading. Confessions spilling like loose change. Vanessa's secrets emerged. Affairs with Pritchard. Embezzlement trails leading to Cayman accounts. Tommy defended her. Complicated woman. But cracks showed, his drinking mirroring Dad's. Climax brewed at Thanksgiving. Hail tradition. Or farce. The penthouse groaned under turkey and tension. Just us three. No extended vultures. Richard carved. Weak but beaming. To family, glasses clinked. Then Tommy's bomb. Eliana knows.
Dad.
About the crash. And I know about the fire. She confessed to me last night.
Lies.
My fork clattered. Richard's face ashen.
What?
Tommy pressed. She planned it, to force her hand on the will. Arsonist heart. Betrayal's knife twisted. I'd trusted the truce. Richard looked between us. Eyes wet. Which of you? Silence. Stormier than any lake gale. I stood. Chair scraping. Ask him about Vanessa's ledgers. The real thief. Tommy lunged, verbal. Not physical, spilling wine like blood. Accusations flew. Covers. Manipulations. The fire's truth. Richard clutched chest.
Gasping.
Ambulance wailed minutes later.
Lights harsh.
Monitors beeping accusations. Docs, stress. Arrhythmia. Rest, they ordered. In the waiting room, Tommy and I circled like sharks. You started this, he hissed. No, you. With a match.
Raw.
He deflated, shoulders slumping. I was scared. Dad's favorite. Couldn't lose it. Sibling fracture. As Richard stabilized, I whispered to Tommy, team up. Expose Pritchard. Claim the embezzlement insurance. Split clean. He paused, calculating. Twist. Dad lives. Will stands.
He dies.
We renegotiate. Deal with devil's kin. But revenge evolved, not destruction, but reclamation. Winter clamped Chicago like a vice, sub-zero snaps turning the lake to a vast ice rink. Sidewalks slick with betrayals residue. Richard's episode sidelined him to the penthouse, hooked to oxygen tanks that hissed like accusatory serpents. But his mind sharpened, fueled by regret's bitter brew. Tommy and I played dutiful airs, me handling ops. Streamlining Hale Imports fleet to electric tugs. Earning board nods, him on legal. Stonewalling IRS probes into Vanessa's gifts. But under the détente, fissures widened. Tommy's text turned cryptic. Pritchard's talking. Shut him down. I did anonymous audit tip. His desk rated pre-dawn. He folded, confessing to siphoning $2 million for Vanessa's treatments, code for Monaco weekends. We pinned it on him. Insurance payout swelling the coffers. $5 million. Split per the will's spirit. Richard watched from his recliner. For drip mocking his empire. You too. Like oil and water. But damn if you don't float the boat.
Boat.
The metaphor stuck as we plotted the counterstrike. Pritchard out. But the real villain? Vanessa's ghost. Her ledger's a map to deeper rot. Offshore wires to a Bahamian shell tied to Tommy's law firm. Kickbacks for consulting. Confrontation brewed over New Year's. Fireworks popping over the river like celebratory gunfire. The penthouse party. Catered charcuterie. Jazz trio in the corner. Select execs toasting Hale 2.0. Tommy cornered me by the balcony doors. Champagne flutes clinking. Found your leak. Sometimes hack.
Sloppy.
Sis. Truth sloppy. I sipped. Bubbly sharp. Your firm's dirty. Vanessa's cut. He paled. But recovered. Protection. For Dad. Drop it. Or the arson goes public, with your juvie psych eval. Pyromaniac tendencies. Threats evolution. Personal now. Dredging my sealed records. I laughed.
Low. Do it.
I'll counter with Mom's autopsy. Reopened as homicide. His grip tightened on the stem. Glass cracking. You wouldn't. Family.
Tommy.
Your rules. Richard interrupted, wheeling in thinner, but eyes fierce. What's this? Tommy released, smoothing. Business. Lies. Richard's voice. Reedy but resolute. I heard. All of it. The crash. I killed her. Drunk. Raging. You covered.
Son.
Eliana paid for your fire. Vanessa profited on our graves. Bombshell. Party hushed. Trio faltered mid-note. Guests shifted awkward. Sensing implosion. Tommy stammered. Dad. No. Yes. Richard wheeled closer. Oxygen hissing. We'll changes again. Tonight. All to Eliana, clean slate. You, Tommy, get nothing but truth, therapy, restitution. Or jail.
Jail.
The word hung, polarizing the air. Guests whispered, scandal fodder for Gold Coast gossips. Tommy's face contorted. Fury. Fear. Flicker of remorse? After everything? I protected you. Protected yourself. Richard's hand found mine. Cold but firm. Eliana drove me to Vanessa's funeral, free. Through storm. Showed me grace I never gave. She's the heir.
Grace.
My hook. Now noose for Tommy. He bolted. Coat flapping. Into the night. Elevator dinging like a guillotine. Aftermath. Cops at dawn. Tommy's arrest for tampering.
Fraud.
Headline screamed. Hale heir handcuffed. Family fortune in flames. I stood by Richard. His bedside vigil turning confessional marathon. Forgive me, he rasped. Monitors beeping absolution. Forgiving's easy, I lied. Living with it? That's the revenge. Spring thawed the city. Cherry blossoms mocking the chill in my veins. Richard rallied, chemo cocktails working overtime, enough to sign the revised will, me sole beneficiary. Tommy's appeals laughed out in family court. The cabin became sanctuary. Weekends fishing. His stories unfiltered, Mom's laughs. My toddler mischief. The fire's real spark, Tommy's rage at Richard's affair hints. But Tommy simmered in Cook County. Veil denied. Letters smuggled. Vanessa's boat story? True. She pushed him, insurance scam gone wrong. Your move. Twists tendril. I investigated. Door County PD cold case. Ex-husband's fall. Witness recanting. Vanessa's prince on the throttle. Motive. Policy payout. Freedom for Richard Hunt. I drove up. Alone. To the point, skiff bobbing empty. Hired a diver. Propeller scars on the hull. Deliberate. Evidence emailed to prosecutors. Accessory to manslaughter. Tommy's trial loomed summer. Federal court. Loop's shadow. I testified. Voice steady. He lit the match. I carried the blame. Jury split. Sympathy for the troubled brother. But conviction stuck. 5 years. Fraud and obstruction. Richard watched from home. Tears tracking. Justice. Balance. But inside. Schisms. Was I avenger or mirror? Tommy's eyes at sentencing, defiant. Broken. Echoed my own at 16. Climax crested July 4th. Richard's rally. A lakefront picnic at the cabin. Fireworks planned. But storm rolled in. Biblical. We three? No, Tommy paroled early. Good behavior, conditions, supervised visit. He arrived cuffed. Marshal in tow. Range sheeting. Richard hugged him awkward. I stood back. Arms crossed. Welcome home. Bro. Home. Bitter laugh. You won. Pyrrhic. Truth. The empire crumbled under scrutiny. Stock tanked. Board exodus. My veto? Used to sell off. Fund scholarships in Mom's name. Clean. But hollow. As thunder cracked, Tommy pulled me aside. Marshall's distant. One last play. Vanessa safe. Combo 0909. Mom's birthday. Keys to it all. Dad's real ledgers. Crash wasn't just him. She orchestrated. Egged him on. Proof inside. Gift or grenade? I nodded. Rain masking tears. Why now? Because fuck her ghost.
And
Sorry.
Ileana.
For the fire.
Sorry.
The hook I'd craved. Fireworks burst distant. Defiant. But the safe? Emptied pretrial. By whom?
Tommy smirk. Twist, I lied.
It's empty. But you believed. Means we're even. Polarization peaked. Brother redeemed. Or serpent. I punched him. First blood. Knuckles splitting. Marshall intervening. Richard watched. Silent verdict. Storm broke. We parted fractured. Fireworks fading to embers. Autumn returned. Leaves turning Door County to fire. Ironic palette for ashes. Richard's health plateaued. A stubborn remission granting months. Not miracles. We rebuilt piecemeal. Hale Imports rebranded Voss Logistics. EcoFocus earning grants. My board seat unchallenged. Tommy, out on probation. Vanished to Milwaukee. Paralegal gig. AA meetings. Letter sparse. Working on me. Don't hate. Hate. Faded to ambivalence. The gray of Lake Michigan dawns. But Vanessa's specter lingered. Her trial, posthumous. Assets seized, dragging family through tabloid mud. Sun-time splashed. Heiress's dark legacy. Manslaughters and mayhem. I fielded calls from reporters. Stonewalling with no comment. But inside, the controversy churned. Was she monster or survivor? Her lupus real. Treatments bankrolled by scams. Sympathy votes in comment sections. Poor woman. Driven to desperation.
Driven. Like mom.
I debated it solo. Drives along the lake road. Radio preaching true crime podcasts. Polarizing. Readers split online. Ileana Hale. Hero or hypocrite? Threads exploded. My juvie past exhumed. Tommy's fans crying, sibling rivalry gone toxic. Richard noticed. Over coffee one crisp morning.
Ignoring.
Worlds full of judges in pajamas. Judges. I nodded. But the will's weight pressed. His final draft. Notarized lakeside. All to you, Ileana. But a codicil if you forgive Tommy. Split it. True family. Forgive. The ultimate controversy. I pocketed it. Unresolved. Thanksgiving redux. Cabin. Just us. Richard frail but festive. Turkey basted in bourbon glaze. Tommy showed. Uninvited but unchained. Bearing pie from a Milwaukee bakery. Truce 2.0. Awkward grace. Plates passed. Stories swapped. Tommy's AA sponsor. A burly ex-cop. My first green shipment docking in Milwaukee Harbor. Richard beamed. Oxygen low.
This
is what Clara wanted. Wanted. Post-dinner. Fire crackling. Tommy and I stepped out, deck slick with frost. Stars pricking the velvet sky. Heard about the trial, he said. Breath clouding. Vanessa. Yeah. She pushed Dad that night. Texted him. End it clean. I found it last week. Cleaning out storage. Text. Proof's ghost. Why tell me now? Because the twist. I deleted it years ago. Covered for her too. Full circle. We're both monsters. Monster. The word hung. Inviting debate. Nature or nurture. Betrayal's chain. Or choice. I gripped the rail. Knuckles white. Then why pie? He shrugged. Vulnerable in moonlight. Redemption's cheesy. But real. Inside. Richard called, cough racking. We rushed. Collapse. Heart giving under cancer's siege. Ambulance to Green Bay ER. Codes blue. Then flat. He died at 3:17 a.m. Monitors silent as a confessional. Last words. To us both. Forgive.
Live.
Funeral. Graceland again. Ironic loop. Mourners sparse. Execs perfunctory.
Nos eroreti vultures.
Tommy and I eulogize tandem. Him on loyalty's cost. Me on Grace's drive. Well, reading followed. Hargrove's office stuffy, with finality. To Eliana, everything. Unless? Codicil read. Eyes on me. Tommy waited. No plea, just quiet.
Piekrust grams metaphor.
I paused. Room thick. Forgive, after fire. Crash. Schemes? Or split? Polarizing victory. Half legacy, half peace. Split it, I said. Gasps. Hargrove's pen scratched. Tommy's eyes. Shock. Gratitude? Debate fodder. Weakness or wisdom? After. We walked the cemetery. Leaves swirling. Why? He asked. Because Dad's right. Family's the real revenge. Messy. But ours. He nodded. Brother again. But the twist lingered. That night. Alone. I found the safe, not empty. Vanessa's letter. Tucked in a Bible. To my boys, Richard. Tommy, I did it for us. The boat. The crash. Debts paid. Eliana, you're the wild card. Burn it all. Or build.
Build.
I burned it. Ashes to the lake. Happy? Tragic? Readers argue. Redemption arc. Or setup for sequel betrayal.
Me?
I drive now, legit rides.
No boasts.
Chicago hums. Imperfect symphony. And in the rear view, a family. Fractured but forwarding. The end? Yours to debate.